I have been mocked, belittled, questioned, made fun of, laughed at, and written off for weeks because I've been saying that December 24th, when the Jets play the Washington Commanders, Aaron Rodgers intends to play that day. I've been saying that's the day to expect him back. People think I'm just making this stuff up. I wouldn't just make that up. I'm saying I've been hearing that from people, not doctors. I can't tell you he can do it. I'm telling you, and this is what I have said repeatedly, he thinks he can. He believes he's coming back that day. I'm not making this up. So yesterday, he's on McAfee, and this is after he had told, was it Derwin James on the field after the game against the Chargers? He had said, yeah, give me a few weeks. And the whole world went crazy. Is he saying he's coming back in a few weeks? So McAfee kind of presses him on that. And here's what Rodgers said.
So a couple's 2, a few's 3.
Yep.
A Rushmore is 4.
I'm aware of this.
Right? So yeah, I'm just saying,
Handful,
it's gonna be a few.
A pantheon.
It's gonna be a few fortnights. It'll be a few fortnights.
A few fortnights. McAfee had just said a few is 3. A fortnight, for those who don't know, is 2 weeks. 3 times 2 weeks is 6 weeks. Do you know what game is coming up 6 weeks from now? The one on December 24th against the Washington Commanders. So where are all of you now? Where are all the people making fun of me? Where are all the people saying Greeny is delusional, or Greeny is making this up, or Greeny is talking with his heart and not his head? I've been telling you all along, because I've heard it from people close to him, that is when he thinks he's coming back. Now, I can't tell you he can. I'm not a doctor, and I've never had a torn Achilles. I'm telling you that's what he thinks. And I've been saying it for weeks. And have you heard the fun of me that people have made? Have you read about it? Have you heard it? And so now where is everybody? Where are all the people saying, Greeny was right? I was right. Did we get Yates?
Oh, we got Yates in studio,
Yates,
baby.
Okay, perfect. So this is what I needed.
We got Yates in studio.
So I have this fantasy question, and Yates is our top fantasy person here at ESPN. Josh Jacobs is on my fantasy team. He's playing the Jets. This is a critical game for the Jets. And so I'm trying to figure out whether I need to bench him, which would could easily cost me my fantasy matchup this weekend, or play him and sort of be sleeping with the enemy here. This obviously is a question that Yates must get all the time. So, Yates, thank you for jumping in here. What is the general etiquette on things like this?
Well, you're going to have to put your fandom aside if you really want to win.
Wait.
Your secondary option is who?
Wait, I'm sorry. Can I can sort of see. This is not Yates?
This is Yates.
What do you mean it's Yates?
This is Cousin Yates.
Yeah,
Wait, what does that mean?
You said get Yates. This is Alan Yates. What do you mean?
Alan Yates?
I'm the soup guy.
You remember the guy who never ate soup? This is him.
Oh, so hold on. So I asked for Yates, and you went and got Alan Yates?
Yes, he was the closest Yates in the vicinity.
And I'm a Josh Jacobs owner in fantasy as well. So, you got to start the guy because you can't go in that joint with Zeke. You just can't do that.
Are you telling me you did not think? You just assumed any Yates?
That's what you said. You kept saying.
I thought you said get.
You kept saying get Yates, get Yates, get Yates. We got Yates. He was a studio over. It was easy to get him.
All right, we have this. We do have Field Yates now for real.
All right, well, keep both Yates. I mean,
we have both Yates here.
As many
Yates possible. We have them.
Call Clinton.
Is this Field Yates?
Greeny. How are you, my friend?
Thank God. All right. So we had a little bit of a Yates discrepancy here, but I'm delighted that we have gotten you.
Feels unlikely that they're cousins.
Yeah.
No, we're related.
What makes you say that?
Based on the TV copy.
Explain that further.
The first thing they teach you in journalism school is if they announce something on a Friday afternoon, they're hiding something. They are covering it up. And so my unsolicited advice to Tony Petiti is do not try to news dump this tomorrow afternoon at 4:40 Eastern time, counting on the fact that by the time the weekend is over, it gets swallowed up. If you're making a decision here, make it. Stand behind it. Everything I've heard about Tony is great. I've never met the man in my entire life, but everyone at baseball loved him. Everyone who covered baseball loved him. Everyone who deals with baseball loved him. And when he came to the Big Ten, which any of you who know me know, that's my conference. I love it. When he came there, everyone said, great move, great hire, great guy, great executive. I'm sure he wasn't expecting to have this nonsense dropped on his desk like 8 minutes after he arrived. But that said, don't try to hide this. This is a huge story. Whatever decision you make, I don't think you can go wrong here. There's no wrong answer, which is the same thing as saying there's no right answer. Whatever he does, people are going to pick it apart. So when we get to a place in life, this I think is true for politicians, I think it's true for talk show hosts, it's true for everybody. There's nothing I can say to you right now that everyone is going to agree with. So I might as well just tell you what I really think and let the haters hate. And that's what Tony Petitti needs to do. If we ever do a book in which we're going to name the best players in NBA history, 1 through whatever, how many numbers would we have to get to before you would put him?
Probably somewhere between 20 and 30.
Get up and leave this table. You're going to tell me that James Harden is one of the 25, let's just use this, greatest players, not numbers. Don't give me numbers. I watch basketball. I know who's great. You're going to tell me James Harden is one of the 25 greatest players that ever lived?
When it's all said and done, I think you will be able to make an objective case, as I like doing, that he's one of the 25 or 30 greatest basketball players of all time. I think that's a real, on-the-table option. I understand there are a lot of people, myself included, as a Philly fan, that does not like the way that he conducts his business, but that doesn't take away from the fact that he is a brilliant basketball player and has been for a decade.
He is a system, and that system never wins. I'll quote him. He says, I'm not part of a system. I am the system. I'm not a system player, is what he said. I am the system. Go back and show me what anyone has to show for that system besides millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Do you consider Charles Barkley an all-time great?
Yes. No. I consider Charles Barkley 1,000 times better than James Harden.
How about Karl Malone?
Better.
Why?
They were just better players. I watched them play. They contributed to winning a hell of a lot more. Charles Barkley ran into Michael Jordan. Karl Malone ran into Michael Jordan.
Yeah, and James Harden ran into the Warriors dynasty.
Once. The rest of the time, he got beaten down in everywhere else and didn't show up in any of them. He was the reason his teams lost all those games.
Yeah, but you're using anecdotes over body of work. Like that's one way of doing it. But you have to include both as options in deciding what a player's legacy is. There are two sides of this coin. James Harden absolutely is a choke artist, absolutely is a selfish player, absolutely never won at the highest level. But he's also a brilliant player who, by the way, did play. He didn't load manage for most of his prime.
No, I like that about him.
He was he averaged more than 30 points a game in 3 consecutive seasons. He averaged more points a game than all but Michael Jordan in a season since Wilt Chamberlain. We can't discount things that also matter to us. Like, no, there's one very specific thing. He did not reach the top of the mountain, and we don't like the way that he conducts his business. But if you just look at the back of the car, like the back of the baseball car.
Who's a better player historically, Chris Paul or James Harden?
James Harden.
Get out of here.
James Harden's a greater player historically.
No way that you're going to all time. If you're starting a team and you can have them through their primes, you would rather have James Harden than Chris Paul?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Chris Paul also hasn't done any winning himself.
No, but I mean, he's been. I would take Chris Paul ahead of James Harden. How about you? How about Allen Iverson?
James Harden is a greater player than Allen Iverson.
Get out of here! What are you talking about? Did you watch Allen Iverson play?
I watched Allen Iverson play 80 games a year for half of my life.
And you would take James Harden over Allen Iverson?
There was nothing on a basketball floor in which Allen Iverson was better than James Harden. Not one single thing. James Harden is one of the 15 or 20 best passers and 5 or 10 greatest scorers in the history of the NBA. You can't simply point to games 6s and 7s, specifically across playoffs, and say, look, that guy sucks. The reason we think that guy sucks is because we know what he's capable of, not because he sucks. James Harden is a brilliant basketball player, and I hate defending him, but there's a reason why Daryl Morey is going to the Hall of Fame, and it's because of that guy. It's because of James Harden. They made the right decision in bringing him to Philadelphia. They did as much high-level winning as was possible at that time in Houston based upon the fact that they were going up against an absolute dynasty. We're holding so many things against James Harden that just aren't fair. Like, we have to be fair and balanced in the way that we cover these guys and their legacies. I'm totally good with you hating the way that he looks and hating what he does at night.
I don't hate the way he looks.
You talked about many times about him being out of shape, and he probably is been at some
that
point.
part, yeah.
That's
but
all
the
that I mean.
beard I kind of like.
Fair enough.
I thought you meant his beard.
What I'm saying is that James Harden's body of work is greater than you are giving it credit for. A player that has averaged 25 points and 7 assists across practically 15 NBA seasons, was a part of 60 win teams, averaged 36 and 34 points a game in a season, won an MVP. I mean, this is a dominant offensive player, a person that did, over a durable period of time, lead his team, the Rockets, to a lot of high-level success in the playoffs, just not all the way. Going up against the Spurs in some cases, going up against the Warriors in some cases. I'm not discounting the half that you're saying. I'm just saying we can't just present half the evidence.
So ESPN.com in 2022 ranked the NBA 75th anniversary team. They have James Harden 50th.
Here's the thing. I want you to look at... This is such a complicated conversation to have because there are things... Well, whatever. I don't want to get into things that people know and that you hear and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Professionalism is a big part of being an all-time great player. Taking big games seriously. Being in the NBA Finals and doing what it takes to be at your best in those games, even when they're being played in Miami, matters historically. I'll leave it at that.